Okay, we're going to do some chanting. Page 15. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, not busy with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be happy, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born. May all beings be happy. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to false views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we can start. Dear Ajahn, how do we cultivate more awareness and and in return find mindfulness. That's what I've been talking about this for the last couple of days. Yeah. Just keep doing it. Just do it, Nike Air. Yeah. Yeah, like I remember a monk saying, like, if you can imagine a water tank, and the water tank is like above your head, and you can't see inside. And the like droplets of water is like the mindfulness that you put into the mindfulness that you sort of grow over the years. It's just little drops over the years. You can't see over the top, so you don't know how much you have in there, but one day it just overflows. So in a sense, it's sort of like that. We're doing this practice and we don't really know how it's all happening. It's like a big mystery to us, but then eventually one day we'll kind of have an understanding. But you have to give it some time. And it looks like you guys have plenty of time. Okay. Some of you guys have plenty of time. Anyways. Okay, I feel like I can't stop my mind living in the past and future, mainly future, when I sit down and meditate. Yeah. Well, so, it's just a mind which is thinking again. And like I always like to describe the mind in a way where the mind has so much that you can fit into it. And so when there's too many thoughts, you can't fit anything else. You can't fit much into it because your mind's already taken up. So here we're talking about the mind just basically thinking into the past or into the future. So what we're trying to do as meditators is to fill the mind up with a little bit more silence and a little bit more peace. And the more silence and peace that you can put into your mind, the less thoughts that you will have. It's a very easy solution. But you just gotta just keep at it. And sort of know that meditation is not the only way to do this practice. There's also the practice of how you live your life. And that also contributes to how well your meditation goes. Yeah. Like, it's sort of like, why are you thinking into the future? Sometimes maybe it's a little bit of craving and like you're dreaming about something So if that's the case, then we can try to practice a little bit more contentment in the moment. Just be content with what you have, yeah. And then after a while, you just get used to it. I mean, you can take, for example, when people become monastics, a lot of their future thinking gets taken away. Because we don't really have much to think for, you know what I mean? Yeah. So in a sense, that helps us out. But for you people who have futures to worry about, I think that's perfectly okay. That's just normal. But then just understand that, when you get to come to a place like this, for 2 days you don't have any responsibilities and you do not have to think about anything. It's like a holiday from whatever you were doing. And just putting yourself in that kind of situation sort of helps you not think about other things too much. So when I'm here, I'm not thinking about what I have to do in Kusala Hermitage. Like, yeah, who am I gonna contact to come and pull some weeds? or what we're going to do next on the building projects and things like that. So when I'm here, I don't think about what's happening over in Kusala Hermitage. Yeah. And when I'm here, I don't think about what my mother's doing or or worried about her. You're just living in the moment. Yeah. Don't tell my mum that, otherwise she'll get really upset. Okay, I can answer this question later. I'll answer it now. Why did you choose to live at the hermitage as opposed to the monastery? I guess it actually happened all by chance. Yeah? So I didn't actually go out looking for a place. And yeah. At the time, I was living in Bodhinyana Monastery, and at the moment I'm in Kusala Hermitage with another monk, Ajahn Jr. And we've been a very nice couple for a long time. We've known each other for a long time, and we've got this weird karma that we end up being together. So when I travelled to Wat Buddha, he came along and we did a bit of work there. And for some reason, we're like two completely different people, but we get along and we kind of make it work. And so what happened was the monastery was getting full in Bodhinyana, and Ajahn Brahm was asking the monks to sort of go out and do your own things. So then we were staying in Scott Road. There's like a monastery next door to us, and we were staying in there for a couple of years, and then Ajahn Brahm bought the property next door. So he bought that property, and we built it up, and now we're living there. Yeah. Now we're living there, and we've been there for a couple of years. And yeah, it's just a great place. It's not too far from the city or anywhere. And it's also in the forest. And it's also nice as well. It's sort of, living in a big monastery where Ajahn Brahm's the abbot, and there's so many monks there that in a sense you're just like another monk. And when you get older as a monk, sometimes monks have different aspirations, and sometimes you want to be able to, like for myself, just give back to the people, and also I might as well just start a place, and just see what happens, and so then in a sense you grow in a different way. Yeah, you're able to share your own experiences in the practice and what worked for you with other people. And then you can see I've been living with Ajahn Jr. You can see him grow in different ways. Yeah. So just make the most out of the opportunity that you have, and that's all I could do, and just do my best. And then, just see what happens. But remember, there's a lot of weeds to pull. I know it's not a very fun job, but it makes Ajahn Jr. very, very happy. Okay. Dear Ajahn, I noticed a drop in my energy level recently. I really want to find out the cause and cure. Should I keep inquiring to find the root cause, or should I let go of that and go into silence? Yes, it's kind of interesting. The energy levels of the mind, it's just like a wave. It just goes up and down, up and down. You can't really have perfect meditation all the time. And Ajahn Brahm always talks about, like meditation is like a person working for their wages. So at the end of the week, you get your wage of however money you earn. But throughout the week, you have to work for it. And sometimes it's not fun when you're working. You have to just go through your day, drag your feet along. But then at the end of the day, at the end of the week, you get your reward and you get your money. And in the same way, it's the same with meditation. It's not always cruisy and everything is working perfectly. You have to understand that there are going to be tough times as well. And having low energy is not such a big deal. Yeah, it just means that your mind isn't rested. It means that your mind has just been doing too much. And a lot of the time is like, if you're thinking a lot, you get quite tired because you're using up a lot of mental energy. So if that is the problem, then it's always like going back to the silence, be more in the moment, just like let go and relax. And being in that silence will help build up that energy of the mind again. And it just builds up, and then you'll be walking around smiling like Ajahn Brahm. Yeah, you you hear like these stories where meditators get really, really deep, and they just like sit in meditation for like 7 days. Yeah, man. And there was there was a guy a Vietnamese monk teaching a retreat in Sydney, and yeah, have you heard the story? Yeah. So it was meant to be like a 7-day retreat or something like that. So he decided, I've got nothing to do. I might as well just go out to where I'm teaching and just sit in meditation for a little while. So he went to do that, and instead of getting out of the meditation on time to give the talk, he just stayed in his meditation for like 7 days. I don't know what was going on. Was he like really shy? He didn't want to teach, or? But I was just told that he was in a really, really deep meditation, and it's sort of like I kind of believe the story because it happened in Sydney, and the monk who told me the story, I kind of like trust him. So I think there is some truth to that, where you can get into these deep, deep meditations. Yeah. And then when you come out, the mind is like super energetic. It's like, when you have a really energetic mind and, things just seem to be a little bit more better. Yeah. The baked beans from the can taste a little bit better. It goes to the point where Ajahn Brahm admits when he walks through the forest and looks at kangaroo shit, he thinks it's beautiful. So he's just trying to illustrate here is like when your mind starts to awake, it kind of like starts to appreciate things, just the little things in life. And that's the one thing that I think people get confused about when they come across Buddhism, is the need to let go of attachments. And you cannot enjoy anything, right? You can't, because it's all attachments and it's wrong. So some people get that idea into their head. But then when you think about it, when you look at the mind the mind can start to appreciate, the little things in life. There's appreciate like the beauty of the forest. I was like walking through the forest today, and I just saw this this gnarly wandu tree, and I thought it was pretty cool, Yeah, and just like there's a jasmine plant planted outside the cottage, and it's like, yeah, that's nice. So you can sort of the brightness of the mind does help you enjoy life a little bit more, and there is nothing wrong with that. And even in the in the I don't know, it's not the suttas, but it's just a story from the time of the Buddha where the monks, they used to practice and they're living out in the forest amongst the wilderness and just finding like pleasure in the wild, just living a simple life, developing their mind in meditation. Yeah. But I still disagree with Ajahn Brahm about the kangaroo poop. Okay. How do you approach the decision of choosing when to move an area of the body in pain while trying to withdraw from the senses versus sitting with that pain? Yeah, it's I think it's experimental, and it's just also what you've been taught. As a younger monk, some of the things that were said in the monastery is that it's good to sit through pain, and there is some sort of wisdom that arises in that. And to this day, in some traditions, like in Thailand, they do those kinds of practices where they sit down and watch the pain and see if they can get some sort of understanding by it. So in the earlier days, there were kind of two conflicting thoughts in the monastery, and sometimes as a young monk, you don't really know what to do, so you go ask your teacher. And then Ajahn Brahm, he sort of teaches a way of meditating in comfort. Yeah. So what he would say to people if they would ask this question is to just try to sit with the pain for a little bit and then see what happens. And if it hurts too much, then just move it. But then I find that, if you're having a little bit of pain, it is a disturbance to the mind, because it takes the mind away from what you're actually trying to do when you meditate. So when you move that leg or move that body part to make it comfortable, then things like become easy again. So in a sense, you just try to experiment. But I don't recommend sitting through pain. Yeah. And you don't need to. And when you move your body a little bit, afterwards you get a level of comfort which you can keep for the next 20 to 30 minutes, and that's like plenty of time for your mind to calm down. Yeah. And the sad thing is, you hear practitioners just sitting through a lot of pain and they end up damaging their knees. Yeah, like pulling ACLs. Yeah. And then they can't sit on the ground anymore. Yeah. But then, like I think for beginners or people who haven't meditated for a long time, I think aches and pains is all a part of your body just getting used to sitting on the ground. Yeah. And then after a while, when you do it for a long time, your body adjusts, and then it can just sit down for long periods of time without any pain. Yeah. Hi Ajahn. When there's a lingering thought, should we be concentrating on that thought, or should we just be aware of that thought? Both of which are being mindful. Please kindly enlighten me. Okay. Yeah, just lingering thoughts that float through the mind. It just really depends on how strong they are. The stronger the thought, the harder it is for you to get rid of it. But if you just take away the focus and make peace, be kind, be gentle, what happens is that you're just taking away the energy of the thought, and the volume of the thoughts just become more quieter and weaker, to a point where they're not really that much of a disturbance. Yeah, and then after a while, you get to understand the way your thoughts work. And you kind of know how to filter through it. Sometimes you get to the point where you understand, oh yeah, this is just thinking for no productive reason. And when you can see those thoughts, you can sort of just let them go and let them be, and then they're not important anymore, and then they will disappear by themselves. And then when there's something important that arises within the mind, then you understand that, hey, this is something important. So if it's important to you, you need to think about something, you can just allow those thoughts to stay in your mind. Yeah. But a lot of the times, the thinking is not very useful. Yeah. Do monks generally write down their insights, or do they just trust that they will remember? I'm not too sure. I don't do that. Yeah. Monks have very personal lives. We don't really. I don't know if other monks journal. We don't talk about stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure some monks do. Yeah. It's just how they. Yeah, I do have a friend, and he journals quite a bit, but he's not a monk. Yeah. So I don't really know. So yeah, write down the insights. This is talking about insights. I think insights change. Like on the way, so you're on the journey. You're learning how to meditate, and on the way, I think through time, insights, they change, and because you get to certain stages of your practice, and new things come up, and yeah, and I think for myself is, I don't write anything down, so I just share with you what I know. Is happening within my practice in this this particular time, and the other stuff that I thought about many years ago, it doesn't usually come up. But then saying that, if you've been to my retreats, I just say the same thing all the time. But it is true, it's just like a repetitive practice that we're doing here. And then I was like, just a repetitive practice, you're just being aware, being mindful, letting go of your thoughts. And then like these things just arise naturally. You don't need to make them happen. Yeah. Like peaceful states of mind, they just arise naturally. You don't need to go looking out for them. Yeah. It sounds easy. How do I feel whole and complete within myself? I think just a sense of contentment and accepting yourself for who you are, and just learning how to be alone and learning how to meditate. Because I think the most comfortable person that you can be with for your entire life is yourself. If you really think about it, it's like your best friend. Are you completely and totally comfortable with that person? Or even your mom or your dad or myself with Ajahn Brahm? I don't think so. Like even with my brother, I'm quite close to him. I think that true comfort that we're talking about here, it's hard to find that with other people. So I think, I think when you're, meditating and being by yourself, that's when you can like feel complete and just feel like comfortable. Yeah. Because you're with yourself, you don't have to talk to anybody, you don't have to worry about making anybody upset, you don't have to live up to anybody's expectations. You're just there by yourself, and if you learn how to just accept yourself and just like be content, then you start to understand that the most comfortable person to be with is yourself. Yeah. What is the most difficult thing for you in being a monk? Waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Not being able to drive. There's nothing really difficult with monastic life. Because after a while you get used to it and you just find a level of contentment with what you're doing, and you just accept your own practice and accept how far you've gone and how much you developed. And in that sense, you just develop a sense of contentment. And monastic life isn't really that difficult. Yeah. And it does that. It's not the easiest thing in the world. There's monks who have disrobed before, and nuns as well. And that's perfectly fine, that's perfectly normal. But I think, the reason why they do that is because there's some sort of difficulty there. They're unhappy or, but they're trying their best at the same time. And for myself, no, I don't really find anything too difficult. Yeah. I get to see cool people every day. I mean, it's kind of fun. You go, hey, how you doing? And then you have a little chat with them, and you share, you share lunch, and it's a pretty nice life to live. Yeah. How do I let go of anger? You can just see how much pain you're causing other people, and how much pain it's causing yourself. And at the same time, you can understand that that's what's been taught as well by the monks, is to try to let go of anger. because it's not good for us or anybody else. And yeah. But then sometimes it's difficult for people to do that. And then, so I also understand that as well. Like, people are just angry people, and that's who they are, and it's very difficult for them to change. But I think, like, yeah, that may be the case, but I think, like, if a person who comes on a retreat, who listens to the Dhamma, they have that good intention to let go of their anger. And because of that good intention that's in place, I think they have more chance of figuring out a way to let it go. So I think all you can really do, if you want to deal with problems, is to listen to different teachers and just try to apply what they say and to see if it works or not. And yeah. But I think if you want to make that change, then that's a good start in itself. It's sort of like, I was just telling people, it's like we have these bad habits, and because we're attached to them, we don't want to let them go. Yeah, and that comes with like the anger. So take for example, like a smoker. You know, they smoke cigarettes, and they've been told that it's not good for their health, but they keep on smoking and smoking and smoking until they die. And they do know that it's not good for them, but because they're attached to the smoking, it causes a problem. And they just don't see clearly. Sometimes they don't see clearly that it is such a big problem for them. So when it comes to problems like anger, if we start to see it clearly, we start to see the problems that it's causing for us and other people. You know, if you're angry all the time, you like push the people close to you away. You won't have many friends. People don't like you. It's not a good quality to have. So when you can see the trouble that is causing yourself and other people, then you might want to make that change. Yeah. Is it good to create a meditation practice at the same time every day? Yeah, I think it's good to try to meditate, just meditate every day. And yeah, it's good to put aside time if you can. Because sometimes we just get too busy and forget to meditate. So having a little bit of discipline can help. And try to find a time where I think you feel rested and that your mind is clear. So when you meditate, you don't have too many things to work with to become peaceful and still. So say if you have a busy day and you want to schedule your meditation in the evening, then when it comes to sitting, then you may get a little bit sleepy. You might be sleepy because you're working all day. And then, so maybe just try scheduling a time in the morning when you wake up, you feel a little bit fresh, you have a shower or something, and then just set aside 15 minutes. And in a sense, it's like a great way to start your day. Yeah. Dear Santutthi, if we live in the current moment all the time, how we plan our day, when I start meditate, my mind is running with daily planning. How can we control that? I think we just sit with it. You sit with it and just allow it to just slow down all by itself. Yeah. Or if you have the ability to do the breath meditation, that can also help. So you just watch the breath go in and go out. So you have a break from all that planning. But yeah. Yeah, and just sometimes it's just like setting up your mind and knowing what you're doing. So you're setting up your mind, you know what you're doing. This is a time where I meditate. And during my meditation time, I'm not going to think about anything. So we set up that kind of mentality that will also help us not plan for the future. Yeah. So there's all these different little tricks that you can use. Sometimes maybe when you're sitting and the mind is planning about the future is because you haven't given that clear instruction. So maybe try that. Oh, how can I be happy? I don't know. There's many ways to be happy, yeah. There's many ways to be happy. You can. It's just like when we talk about metta practice, it's kind of developing this loving kindness towards other people, and happiness is the same thing. It's sort of like you're developing happiness, and you're just developing happiness, just one step at a time. And how you do it is each and every one of us does it differently, and I think. Like for myself, the way I develop happiness is you just try to add that attitude into your life and bring it up when you're relating to people. Yeah. So when it's time to have a little bit of fun, you just have a little bit of fun. And that's a way of like developing happiness in that sense, in that sense and in that context. And there's like different types of happiness. There's like the happiness of giving. So that's another type of happiness. And it's more of a joy when you learn how to give and give on a regular basis. Just living in Kusala Hermitage, you can experience that by the people that give food to the monks on a regular basis. They're there every week, and they put aside time, and they come into the hermitage, and they bring food, and you just have a chat with them, and then you can sense that they get some sort of happiness and joy from doing it. So yes, that's one way of like developing happiness. So and another way of developing happiness is like I've been saying before, is through the meditation practice. And just bringing up the energy of the mind and things like that. And the ways that you can also develop happiness is just through like virtuous living, being a kind and good person. And I was just interviewing people, and then they were just talking about just getting like dealing with their anger, and it's disturbing their meditation. And you can sort of see that certain actions lead to certain results. And when you get angry, that anger sticks around. You know, when you're meditating, you're still angry at that person. So you know, these kinds of like actions lead to an unhappy state of mind. But when you're doing good, you're volunteering your time, you're being nice to people, you're just being a good person. When it comes to meditate, then not so many things stick to the mind. There's something strange about that. It's like, you know, you had a good time, right? At the beginning of the retreat. And when you meditate, did you think about the good time? No, not really. It didn't stick. But then when you get angry at somebody, and then you go and meditate, for some reason that sticks. And yeah, it's strange how it works, but it works in this way. So, yeah. Other ways of being happy. There's different ways of being happy. Like you know, having a little bit of purpose in life. Yeah. Like Ajahn Jayar's purpose in life is to revegetate Kusala Hermitage, and that brings him a lot of happiness. Seriously, yeah. He goes around and invites people to go look at his plants and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, he has a purpose. He wants to do something, and that brings him happiness. So, yeah, find some sort of purpose in your life, something wholesome, and pursue it. And at the same time, you can come to weekend retreats and work on your meditation. Yeah. And these things, they work together, hand in hand. You can't separate the two. Yeah. You can't separate the two. Yeah. And, you know, if you learn how to meditate well, that will add to your daily living, and the goodness that you make in your daily living will help you when you meditate. If Ajahn Chah would say, if all you needed to do to get enlightened is to meditate, then all the chickens in the world would be enlightened. Because they just sit all day. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and just learn. Yeah, just learn how to give. Create a little bit of happiness in your mind, and meditate afterwards, and see how that helps with the meditation. And I think it does help a lot. Yeah. How do you stay disciplined enough to get up on time and meditate? I do the tasks required around the monastery. To do the tasks around the monastery, I struggle with this every day. Huh? Monastery. How do I stay disciplined enough to get up on time and meditate? 50-50. Yeah, depends on your character. But wanting to be a meditator, I think a lot of the work is done, because in the back of your mind, you want to put time into your meditation practice. And some people do well with discipline, and some people don't. So I think you got to find a reason why you want to do it. And everybody has their own reasons. Yeah? And that should be enough to get your bum on the meditation cushion. And when it comes to doing tasks around the monastery or around Jhana Grove, just look at it just change your perception and look at it in a way where you're just helping out. You're helping out the place. The place ain't going to take care of itself. And have a sense of gratitude that you're able to, live in a place, have a room to sleep in, have shower, you get food to eat. And in a sense, you want to be able to contribute back. And when you kind of think in this way, then the tasks around the monastery or the tasks around Jhana Grove isn't so tedious to do. Yeah. And when you think about it, the tasks that you have to do, it doesn't take that long. Maybe 1 or 2 hours. And then after that, you have the whole day to yourself. And then you can do whatever you want. Sometimes, people just don't want to do stuff because they're just thinking about themselves and thinking about my time and what I want to do. So in a sense, just like being able to just give, just helps us be just that little bit less selfish. And and sometimes, we talk about, overcoming anger and dealing with our anxiety. We can also talk about selfishness as well, and how do we deal with that. And the way you deal with that is to just learn how to give and do your task around the place, and understand that you're contributing, and at the same time you're making some good karma, some merit. Yeah. This idea of giving without expecting anything in return is what we mean by making merit. Yeah. And you don't really lose anything by doing that. You actually gain something. We're the same question. How can I be present instead of worrying about the future? Hit the pause button on your mind. There's nothing. There's nothing about worrying about the future. There's nothing wrong with thinking about stuff when you meditate. So if you have that idea in your mind that these things are wrong when you're meditating, then you're not meditating. You're not meditating wisely. So, like I said before, when these things do arise, we just learn how to accept them and be calm within the moment, and these things will slowly disappear by themselves. They don't completely disappear, but they're not that much of a disturbance. Yeah. What is the best way to start meditation? Thank you. See, what's the best way? Just give it a go. Yeah. Just give it a go. I was like, why do you want to meditate? Like, yeah. Do you want to meditate to become enlightened, or do you want to meditate to become peaceful, you know? Yeah. So the reason why I meditate is we've become a monk and there's this idea of becoming enlightened. So that's a motivation for us. So day in, day out, we'll just put our bums on the cushion and we'll meditate to the point that one day something may happen. So we have that reason to do that. And yeah, I don't know what reasons you people have. Maybe you just want to find a little bit of peace in your life, and that's also the meditation does give you that as well. It not only gives you that opportunity to become enlightened, but on the way, it gives you that opportunity to be peaceful. Yeah. And like I said, you can understand that. You can understand that when you start to have a peaceful mind, then a lot of the problems that you have in life, they disappear, or they're not such a big problem anymore. Yeah. What's your favorite time of the day to meditate? I like meditating in the evenings or in the afternoon, but it just really depends. Yeah, my favorite time to meditate is when the mind has good energy. Yeah. So there isn't really a favorite time. And sometimes when I'm too tired, I won't meditate. I'll be sitting there and I know that I'm falling asleep. So I'm like, okay, now it's not the time. So I'll just get up and rest. But when the meditation's going well, then one tends to want to meditate for longer. So yeah, there is actually no real favorite time. It just depends on the state of mind at the moment. How can we control our anger? I already spoke about that. So yeah. Well, Ajahn talks about the anger eating demon. I think you heard about that story. So yeah, just giving the anger a lot of kindness and metta, and that can help overcome it. But at the same time, these things are difficult to overcome, so there's no need to be too hard on yourself. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. Does anybody have any questions on the floor? So Jan was asking me if you all want to take a group photo tomorrow morning. So if you want to, we'll do it after the talk. Yeah. Okay. That's it, eh? Oh, one question.
Is there such thing as swimming meditation?
Swimming meditation.
Because you concentrate on your breathing.
Well, it can help with the meditation practice, I guess, because you're doing it mindfully. But I don't think it's not meditation. Yeah. Because swimming doesn't develop peace or stillness. Yeah. So you can't really say it's meditation, but you can use it to develop the awareness side of your mind, and you can take that into your meditation practice. Yeah, it's like one of the Ajahn Kemavara would say, you know, is like when you want to get a strong body, you go to the gym and you pump weights and you get your big biceps and what have you. But you need to do that kind of training to be able to get there. And in the same way, when it comes to the mind, we got to do that training of the mind, the training of like letting go and being more in the moment, and just allowing these things to happen. Yeah. Okay. Yay. Okay, we can go now.